All right, welcome into the Pillow Talk stream. This is the second of two streams that we do each and every day here on the Radio Misfits podcast and now live streaming network. The first one comes to you every day at noon. That's Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. We call that the high noon stream, and that's all about current events. That's anything that's happening. We go through the headlines. We talk about trending topics. We break everything down that's happening in the world today or the day that we're talking about. What up? You tune in on a Tuesday, you're going to get other things that are happening on that Tuesday. That's what we do. We run them through. It's very structured, very structured. This one, however, the Pillow Talk at 9:00 every Monday through Thursday, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. That's what we're doing right now. This is typically Pugs and Parker. James Parker joins me. It's a little bit more conversational. It's a little bit more loose, not as structured, not as utilitarian as I like to say the High Noon Show is. The High Noon Show is for you. I do it for you. I do it so that you can, have a nice little cheat sheet on everything that's happening in the world. We go through the day in history. We talk about notable birthdays, notable deaths, plane crashes. Yeah, it's a bit of an obsession of mine. I'm obsessed with plane crashes, and every day there is a plane crash to report, at least at some point in history. My theory, for those of you who are new, is that between 1945 and the year 2000, there was at least one commercial airline disaster on every single day of the year. And that doesn't mean like every day there was a plane crash. It just means that on January the 15th in 1952, a plane crashed. And then the next day when we're doing January 16th show, it would be like, on January the 16th in 1978, a plane crash. It's crazy. Why 45 till 2000? Well, my theory is that commercial airline travel was, they had to work the bugs out. It took about 55 years for them to truly get it down to a science. And there were always things breaking and shit they didn't know. And, 45 was post-war. I don't include anything that was going on in World War II because people were shooting, that kind of thing. One of our regular chatters, April, she's flying on the 22nd. And I did a little research into it for her, and there were no plane crashes on the 22nd. It's one of those safe days. It's one of the very few safe days where you can say throughout history, no plane crashes of note. Today there were a bunch, though. And yesterday there were a whole bunch, like in China. There was one in China in the 60s, and another plane crashed in China in the 50s, and one in the 90s. It was terrible. It was terrible. Parker's going to be a little bit late today, if at all he joins us. I'm not entirely sure. He's got another show that he's involved in. He said he should be joining us around about 9:30. Sorry for the little bit of a late start, but it's the kid's weekend. I got the kid coming this weekend. And we got the new TV. Grandma bought the kid a new TV, and I've been struggling with how to set it up exactly. I mean, I got it. It's one of them Android TVs. It's great. I mean, you don't need any cable. You don't need any satellite. You just need the internet connection, and it's great. It's actually wonderful. It's where all the apps are working great. So I got all the apps loaded up that the kid likes, but I had to rearrange the Comfort Nest guest house. I had to move some furniture around. I did the vacuum. You know what I did? I did something that, I should probably do more of, which is a deep clean. Cleaned everything. Then I had some running around to do. I had some stuff I had to handle over at the big house. For those of you who are new to us here, I do this show and I live in a beautiful guest house that I call the Comfort Nest Lounge. The big house here in beautiful Highland Park, Texas, the master of the big house, he's out jet setting. He flew private. You need me to take you to Love? You need me to pick you up? What do you need from me? Come on, here. I'm here to be your Cato, whatever you need. No, we're flying private this time. Oh, how fancy. Oh, flying private, are you? Flying private. Who flies private? Well, people in this neighborhood, people in Highland Park. Hi, Jen. Jen's here. John's here. What do you say, John? John, where are you at today? Oh, San Francisco. Yeah, John is in a different city every single night that he checks in, and we're so happy to have him. Hey, Byron. Hola, Brian. All right, because we don't have a let me make sure we got everything set here. Because we don't have James, not probably. We're not we're not going to do what we typically do, which is the monologue. James presents us with a monologue every night, but we are going to do the mojo. That's right. We got a mojo for you. If I can get this computer to come on, computer. The heck? Why isn't this damn thing refreshing? There we go. Okay. We got a mojo for you. Mojo is, of course, the moment of joy, because I like to start each and every show out with a little something that's going to put you in a good mood. What is today's moment of joy? I'm not even sure I know what it is. Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, this is a good one. This ought to teach you something. Don't try and trick mom. Mom will get you every time. Moms are sometimes way smarter than you give them credit for. All right, here you go. Here's your moment of joy. This dude tries to trick his mom. Watch this.
If you get this ball into this cup, I'll give you $100, okay?
It's easy.
$100.
$100. She's got to get the ball into the cup without touching it.
One catch. This cup has to be upside down.
Okay.
Get this ball into that cup, you get $100.
That has to be upside down.
It has to be upside down. Yeah, just like that. But no.
What?
There's a catch.
All right, see, that was smart. My mom right there. Mom figured it out right away. She's like, okay, I can do that. But now the dude's got a rule. He's got another rule.
You went too fast. Let me do the thing first, and then we can go, okay? You gotta take your time here.
You didn't say that the first time. So.
This ball into that cup, upside down. You can't touch that cup, though.
But I can move this cup.
Yes, you can move that cup. Whatever you want to do. Well, leave it right there, yeah. Can't move it now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, take that money, Mom! Take that money! We'll try that one more time. Watch what she does.
And then we can go, okay?
Mom knows about science and stuff.
You didn't say that the first time. So.
This ball into that cup, upside down. You can't touch that
I like
cup,
how she
though.
just
But I
grabs
can
the
move
money
this
and
cup.
walks
Yes, you
away.
can move that cup. Whatever you want to do.
Has no idea Mom knew
Leave
tricks.
it right there, yeah. Can't move it now.
Oh, okay.
She goes there. Boom! Give me that money, honey. And done. All right, piss off, Junior. Better luck next time. Thanks for the hundo. All right, we all in a good mood now? We should be. That was good. All right. Now I'm feeling like I shouldn't have said that he was flying private. He likes to be a man of the people, like me. I'm a man of the people. I'm a working class man. I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a man of the people, salt of the earth type. Hate my neighbors. Hate all these rich people that look, I'm happy to be here. Don't get me wrong. I love this neighborhood. This neighborhood's fantastic. But I don't belong here. I couldn't afford to live here on my own dime. Hell no. I got a rich friend. I got an OJ, and I'm his Cato. And he probably doesn't appreciate that I said that he was flying private, but, whatever. Mr. Fancy. Mr. Fancy. Flying private. And he's not like it's not that he's flying private. I mean, he's flying private. Why are you saying that he's not flying? He is flying private. But it's different. It's not like he's paying. Because you know what I've noticed about rich guys? They do all kinds of rich guy things, and they don't ever have to pay. I mean, somebody pays, but like he's not flying private. It's not like he said, I'm going to fly private. It's just that he has a friend who has a jet. His friend's like, why don't you use my plane? Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm here in the guest house watching the dog eating ramen. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Very happy. I'm actually in a very good mood today. I'm always in a good mood on the evening before the boy comes. And we got a long weekend because it's a President's Day. So that's good. So got him for a little bit extra time. And we, like I said, we got the whole property to ourselves. So we're gonna be doing all kinds of things. We'll be doing movie nights in the big house. The big house has a television. It's the size of a garage door. It is the size of a garage door. I was in there earlier tonight. I was doing laundry and I was cooking. Oh, and you know what? Let me just tell you, before we go any further, you know what I wouldn't give for just a 30-year-old dryer. Just a regular old washing machine and dryer. The washing machine and the dryer in the big house that I have to use, I hate. I hate it so much. I'll tell you my situation. Maybe you guys know. Do you guys know about these LG washing machines and dryers where they're all computerized and you well, just put the app on your phone. I don't have room on my phone for a freaking washing machine and dryer app. Are you kidding me? Well, if you need more time, you can just monitor the progress and then you can just, you can hit 10 more minutes from your phone. No, I don't know how. I don't know. I look at it, it's all touch, it's all computerized, and it looks like it's touchscreen, right? Except it's not. It's just a computer screen. It's readout, and I'm hitting things, and nothing's happening. And I've been using this thing for the better part of a year now. I still haven't figured it out. Here's what I know: you don't have to put any detergent in it. I mean, you do, but like you don't have to do it every time because you just like load it up and you open the. First of all, it's one of them front loading washers, so you open it. Like they both look like dryers, both the doors. Like I said, I just want an old time washer dryer where you go and you turn a dial, right? I mean, this thing, you open it up and you shove everything in there, and then all you do is close it, and you hit a button, and it goes beep doop 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 doot 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 doot, and it starts to like weigh the clothes in there, and then all kinds of like laser beams like figure out what kind of clothes they are and how those clothes need to be washed, and then it does the hot for you. You get no say in the matter. It just washes your clothes. Now, you still have to take it. I always tell them, I go, well, you couldn't get the one that transfers it from the washer to the dryer? What, you didn't have enough money for that one? I don't think that actually exists, but you still have to like unload it and then put it in the dryer. And I don't know how to work it. Like I did all of my bedding and I did all of my comforters and all that stuff today, and comforters and stuff, they always take longer because they never quite dry. It's like, okay, we got this. These didn't get dry. I got to do 10 more minutes. I sat there for a half hour staring at it going, how do I just get 10 more minutes? I wish there was just a little dial that I could go and I could just give it 10 more minutes. No, it's not cool. It's stupid. It's stupid rich guy stuff. Look at Jeff Glenn quoting John Lennon lyrics. Yeah, I know. I gotcha. I'm with you. All right. Trying to fill time here while we wait for James Parker. I don't know what I should get into. I don't know. I got stuff we can get into. I wanted to get into the Cowboys dysfunction. Are you guys following this? But then I know that there are people who are like, don't talk about the Cowboys. This isn't talking about Cowboys. This isn't talking about football. This isn't talking about X's and O's and free agency and position battles and coaching changes, that sort of thing. That's not what this is about. This is about like what the hell is going on with the Cowboys organization. There is some sketchy ass stuff happening to America's team. They're not America's team. You can't tell that to people around here. Are you familiar with what's happening with the Cowboys? We touched on it a little bit last night. James brought the story up about Rich Dalrymple, who was the head of the Cowboys public relations and PR for like 30 something years. He came in, he was the head of PR for the University of Miami when Jimmy Johnson was there. And when Jimmy Johnson came here, he brought Rich Dalrymple around with him. And I told the story about how I'd had occasion to know Rich back in the day. He was always very helpful to me. He was always, we did a bunch of stuff with the Cowboys. And for years we had Brad Sham on our show weekly. And then we moved to a different station that was for a period of time, the flagship station of the Dallas Cowboys network. So we had all kinds of dealings with them and all kinds of stuff. He was the kind of guy, I have friends coming into town. We want to see a Cowboys game. I could call him and he'd be like, yeah, I'll set you up, So he was, I always thought he was a good guy. He was certainly a guy in this town who he had extreme power. He had unbelievable power in this town. And I don't know that many of you people know his name, but certainly people in the media and people who had dealings with the Dallas Cowboys, they all knew his name. He was essentially the last line of defense before the Jones family. He was in the inner circle with Jerry and Steven. And he was, like I said, he was there for 30 something years. He was about as high up in the senior executive level of the Dallas Cowboys as it got without having the last name Jones. He was a very, very important guy here in town. And he retired in January, or was it December? I think it was whenever the season ended. At the end of the season this year, he retired after, and he's not an old guy. He's like 61, 62 years old. I mean, he could have gone, Jerry's 90 or whatever the hell, I mean, he could have kept going, but he left the team, and it was a little bit odd when he left the team because he was such an important person within the organization. There was no press release. There was no big send off. There was no big, hey, Jerry didn't. I just want to say thank you to my good friend, a guy who's been working with us for all these years, Rich Dalrymple. Hey, Rich, get up here, say a few words. None of that happened. None of it. It was just very quiet. Just all of a sudden, the former most important dude with the Cowboys organization is gone. And I don't remember anybody really talking about that. I remember when I found out a couple weeks ago that he was gone. Somebody who I know in this town had mentioned something about the Cowboys, and then the first thing they said was, "Man, I lost my hookup, man. Dalrymple's gone." And I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, wow, huh?" Didn't hear anything about it. So now in the last couple of days, we're starting to learn why why he was gone. And by the way, it's not like he did something sketchy and then he was gone immediately. He did something sketchy like 7 years ago, and it's just now breaking. And I don't know if I don't know that there was some advanced knowledge that it was going to become public what happened, or if it only became public because he's then gone. But either way, the Jones family, I mean, they're famous for leaking stuff. They're famous for putting shit out there in the media, good or bad. They seem to be Jerry at least seems to be very much a believer in all press is good press, and anything that lets me get in front of a microphone and start talking is good, even though he puts his foot in his mouth quite a bit over the years. I don't know. I don't know why this is coming out yet, but here, we'll go into a little bit of the details for you here. Dallas Cowboys paid $2.4 million to cheerleaders who accused executive of locker room voyeurism. Richard Dalrymple, a former senior vice president for the NFL franchise, was accused of letting himself into a changing room to take images with his phone, according to ESPN. Now, last night when this story was first brought to my attention, actually, it wasn't last night. It was yesterday afternoon. As I said, I heard when I got into the car after shopping at Kroger, I had the ticket on, and Danny from the ticket was talking about this story, and so I kind of jumped in right in the middle, and I didn't get the full context of it, but it was pretty. They were hammering the team. They were hammering, and that's what I love about the ticket. We got two sports stations in this town. We got the ticket, and we got the fan. And the fan is fine. The fan is, I'm not gonna say anything bad about the fan. The fan is fine. The fan is my old station. It's where I was for a decade. Wouldn't call it the fan then. It was called something else, but it's the same dial position. It's the same management. But the fan is the flagship station of the Dallas Cowboys. So connect those dots, if you will. If you want to hear some truly scathing analysis of the Dallas Cowboys, you're probably going to go to the ticket. That's where they are. The ticket pulls no punches. The ticket's a monster in this town. And they were they going to town on the Cowboys. And like I said, I didn't really have the full context of what it was they were talking about. I just understood that this was a thing involving the cheerleaders. So here's the story. The Dallas Cowboys quietly paid $2.4 million to several cheerleaders who accused a former top team official, that's Rich Dalrymple, of voyeurism. The women accused Dalrymple, the Cowboys' former senior vice president, of slipping into their dressing room at AT&T Stadium in 2015. ESPN reported Wednesday, citing documents that it had obtained and people with knowledge of the situation. So now, here's what I'm saying about the Joneses. So Dalrymple is gone. And all of a sudden, ESPN acquires internal team documents. I don't know why the Jones family would leak this, but I absolutely believe that it would have come directly from someone whose last name is Jones, who decided that now that the guy was gone, they were going to throw him in front of the bus. Even though it doesn't look particularly good for the Jones family because they kept him on their payroll for 7 years. I mean, this is the era of Me Too. I don't know that Me Too, when did Me Too start? 2015 probably predates the whole Me Too thing where everybody's, very sensitive to these issues. In 2015, they probably still thought that they could pay off the cheerleaders and then just bury the story and it would go away and nobody would talk because they have non-disclosure agreements and all those kinds of things. By the way, I can tell you, as someone who's involved in an ongoing non-disclosure agreement with with a media entity, I really believe that if you are involved in a non-disclosure agreement based on some sort of Me Too or Me Too adjacent issue, I gotta believe that non-disclosure agreement in 2022 is out the window. I could not imagine. Like, let's just say theoretically, if the non-disclosure agreement that I signed theoretically had something to do with something that happened or something that I witnessed, and I signed a piece of paper saying that in exchange for what I demanded, I would never speak of it. I would have to believe that in 2022, again, theoretically, if it had something to do with sexual harassment, maybe some sort of maybe some sort of an issue that had to do with a woman that was victimized. I have to believe that in 2022, that non-disclosure agreement doesn't matter anymore because society has changed. What do you mean it doesn't matter? You signed it. It's a contract. Yeah, let's go to court. Let's go to court in 2022 and let's get this theoretically, of course. Let's get this out in the open. Let's invite some media down and let's talk about what you didn't want me to talk about in a court of law. Let's see if you really want that out in 2022. So I don't know. I guess that's why it's being talked about now. So let me continue on with the story. One of the accusing cheerleaders said she spotted Dalrymple behind a partial wall in the girls' locker room with his iPhone extended towards them as they were changing from their cheerleader uniforms into street clothes. Like I said, this guy was an otherwise thought to be dignified man. This was a powerful guy. A powerful guy who in this town probably had the pick of the litter. I mean, when you're that high up in the Cowboy organization, and he was a sharp guy. He wasn't like a schlub. He wasn't like he wore nice, expensive suits. He was a fairly good-looking man. He's an older man, a bit of a silver fox, if you would. This is more perversion than act of desperation. Like, this is like something that, if this is true, and it's being reported by ESPN, and who am I to say that ESPN would go out with a complete lie? If this is true, this really reveals a lot about what was going on inside this particular dude's head that he was hiding away from the rest of the world, because this is certainly not Certainly not anything that I would have guessed about the person that I thought I knew. But as we talked about last night, man, there are people, there was another radio person in this town that both James and myself thought we knew very well, who did something that was absolutely shocking and wildly out of character from what our experience had been. So I don't know, man. People, we all got some stuff in here, man. We all put our best little brand forward in public, and this is who we want you to think we are. And I say that so much that you would not be out of line for going, what kind of weird shit is Pugs into? But I'm really not. I'm really not into all that weird. There was a period of time in my life where I think any of the weird, dark stuff that was in my head, I would have used on the radio for content. I'm not a murderer or anybody. I'm not a serial killer. I don't kidnap kids. I'm not into kids. None of that like weird stuff, Well, what would it be? I think the weird darkness that I hide. Let me try and tell you what would be my weirdest, darkest thing that you probably wouldn't. I'm very slovenly. I'm very slovenly. Like that doesn't surprise anybody, Pugs. I could maybe do things like what I did today. I washed my sheets. I was washing my sheets and I'm smelling them and I'm like, when was the last time I washed my sheets? And honestly, the only reason that I washed my sheets this time is because my kid will be rolling around in the big bed from time to time and I don't want him to go, it smells like crotch, so what else? What else would be like a revelation that would shock people about me? Again, I've shared it. I guess the most shocking thing about me, at least, if you want to get into the area of perversion, is that I have almost no sexuality anymore. I don't. I have no desire for, okay. So what would it be? Would it be, well, maybe you're a criminal. Maybe you like to shoplift. Ooh, do you remember a bunch of years ago, there was like a TV weatherman in this town? I don't remember what his name was, but he was a TV weatherman in this town and he was, he was fairly high profile and had a nice TV contract, but then he got arrested because it turned out that he was a kleptomaniac. Like he would go to stores and steal shit. What was that guy's name? Anybody remember that guy's name? It was, I don't know, but it was really shocking. It was like, what? That guy makes like 250 grand a year. Why is he going to Target and stealing clothes and wearing baggy sweatpants? So that was like another weird one that got revealed. I don't have that. I'm too afraid. I don't want to go to jail. I would not do well in jail. My slovenly demeanor would not go over well in jail. I don't know. If I think of something, I'll reveal it. You're not going to reveal anything that's truly revolting. Well, isn't it possible that I just don't really have anything that's truly revolting? I'm selfish. I'm a selfish only child, I guess. But I'm not cruel. Like I'm not mean about it. I'm just. All right, back to the jacked up Cowboys situation. One of the accusing cheerleaders said that she spotted Dalrymple with the phone doing the thing while they were changing clothes. Dalrymple got into the dressing room using a back entrance and his security key card. ESPN reported that the settlement was reached in May of 2016 after the cheerleaders went to the team's human resources department, but before they had hired attorneys. A team source confirmed the details of the settlement to NBC News Dallas-Fort Worth. Dalrymple made no mention of the sexual misconduct allegation when he retired this month. Hold on, let's see what that was about. Because I honestly didn't hear anything about him retiring. I was shocked when I learned just a couple weeks ago that he had left the team. Here's what it said back when he retired. This was Rich Dalrymple has served as one of Jerry Jones' confidants for 32 years, becoming something of an institution with the Cowboys. They won't be the same without him. Dalrymple announced Wednesday that he is retiring from the NFL. Quoting him now, "It's something I've been considering," Dalrymple, 61, told David Moore of the Dallas Morning News. "I talked to Jerry about it during the season, and it seemed the timing was better once the season had ended. I've been at this for 40 years, and I'm ready to move on and step away. This is the time. I'm extremely grateful for all the relationships I've formed with players, coaches, fans, and especially the Jones family. Dalrymple was working in the University of Miami. There you go. I mentioned that. Dalrymple was working in the University of Miami Sports Information Department in 1989 when head coach Jimmy Johnson left to become head coach of the Cowboys. Dalrymple was only 29 when he took the job with Dallas, and he stayed with the team after Johnson left. Dalrymple worked with 7 other head coaches after Johnson. Dalrymple said he's in good health, loves what he does, and calls his staff the best in the league. It's simply time to do something else. He's going to pursue his hobby of photography, covert voyeuristic photography. Cowboys spokesman Jim Wilkinson said in a statement to NBC Dallas-Fort Worth that the team understood the gravity of the allegations against Dalrymple, calling it an unfortunate incident. The organization took these allegations extremely seriously and moved immediately to thoroughly investigate the matter. The investigation was handled consistent with best legal and HR practices, and the investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing. Of course not. Back in 2015, but they paid $2.4 million because Jerry Jones is just a good guy. Jerry Jones said, well, we found nothing here. Rich is a good guy. You ladies, we have determined that you're just making all this up. But here, who do I write this check for $2.4 million out to? And then don't talk about this ever. Come on. Jerry's a shark. Jerry's a shark. You think he's just out of the goodness of his heart? Well, ladies, I don't believe you. And our investigation says that you're lying. But here's a check for $2.4 million. Wilkinson added, if any wrongdoing had been found, Rich would have been terminated immediately. The cheerleaders are a vital part of the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, this is what they said back in 2015. This was back in 2015 when saying all this. The cheerleaders are a vital part of the Cowboys family, and in terms of the settlement, the organization wanted to go above and beyond to ensure that the cheerleaders knew that their allegations had been taken extremely seriously. Although our internal investigation said that Rich did nothing wrong. You gals are lying. Rich did nothing wrong. But we take it extremely seriously. Here, have $2.4 million and never mention this. I mean, wouldn't they, if they had found that there was absolutely nothing to the story and nothing to the allegations, wouldn't they just fire the girls and say, you're a bunch of con women? We looked into it. We found nothing. You're trying to shake us down. You can't be a part of the family anymore. It seems odd that their response to what would apparently, due to their own investigation, appear to be a shakedown. It seems odd that they would reward that with $2.4 million. They found something. And it was 2015, so the world wasn't all Me Too'd up. And so they just went, okay, ladies, all right, yeah, he did it. He took some snazzy pictures of you. He snuck in and he reached his hand around. He did like a Porky's thing. Like in Porky's, the movie Porky's, where they drilled the hole in the showers and the boys would look through. That's basically what he did, except he did it in the tech era. He did it with a phone and a key card. Oh, the other funny thing about this is the lawyers, he admitted, because the lawyers for the cheerleaders at the time, they had the key cards pulled so that they could know, like, if they said he snuck in, and how would he sneak in? Well, he would have to have access. And because he's a senior executive, he would have a key card that would grant him access to all these places within the compound there at Cowboys training facility or at AT&T Stadium, I guess. So he would have access. And so, the key cards, those are all digitized. So there's a record of that. So they can just have those pulled. And then they can look and they go, oh, look here. Right around the time the girls say that somebody was taking pictures of him, it looks like Rich Dalrymple's key card keyed in right there. He got in. So that was undeniable. Although remember, the investigation, according to the team, has no evidence. But there was evidence. Now we know there was evidence. So do you know what he said? Do you know what he claimed? He claimed, yeah, I popped in. Yeah, of course, I used my key card and I popped in but it was only because I really had to go to the bathroom. So he popped into the women's cheerleading locker room because he really had to go to the bathroom. Even though, as the attorney points out, 20 feet away was the men's bathroom. And he didn't need a key card for it. Men's bathroom didn't have a key card access. He could have just walked in. It was 20 feet away. But instead, he pulled his wallet out. He got his card out, or he's probably wearing it around his neck or something. And he swiped and he went in to the women's changing room. I really had to go to the bathroom. It was a simple mistake. Remember, Jerry and the Cowboys officially said their investigation showed no dirty deeds. Everything was above board. Wilkinson added if any wrongdoing had been found, Rich would have been terminated immediately. He wasn't. Let's see. We wanted to ensure that the cheerleaders knew that their allegations had been taken seriously, so we gave them $2.4 million, and immediately and thoroughly investigated. Everyone involved felt just terrible about the unfortunate incident. So I guess they're going so far as to admit that Rich was in there because he had to go to the bathroom, but they're not admitting that there was anything involved with the phone. No, there was no phone. There was no pictures. He didn't see nothing. The girl's privacy wasn't invaded. He just popped in to go to the bathroom. Well, then why didn't he go to the men's room, which was just 20 feet away? He really had to go. NBC News could not immediately reach lawyers for the cheerleaders or a representative for Dalrymple for comment Thursday. In a statement to ESPN, Dalrymple denied the allegations. People who know me, my coworkers, the media, and my colleagues, they know who I am and what I'm about, the statement said. I understand the very serious nature of these claims and do not take them lightly. The accusations are, however, false. False, but worth $2.4 million. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. All right, so there's more here on this now. Let's see here. Let's pull this out. I mean, this is... and it's all coming to light now. And here's why it's particularly troubling that it's coming to light now. Because now that it's public, the NFL, the league, is going to have to get involved. The NFL is going to have to do an investigation now. The NFL took a beating and are currently taking a beating because of their situation going on with Daniel Snyder and the Washington Redskins. Now, I don't know if you know anything about that, but Daniel Snyder was basically pimping out the cheerleaders for the Washington Redskins to donors and season ticket holders. And, hey, girls, you need to get on this plane. You need to go down to there was like a Mexico trip where the cheerleaders were required to go on it with all these drunken dudes. It's guys are dirtbags. What are you going to do? All right, let's see what else we got here. What else does it say here? Oh, this is a second article. Dysfunction under the Jones family is reaching a crescendo for the Cowboys. The days right after the final game of the season are when NFL teams are all about coming up with a free agent plan, getting full swing into the draft, and coaching meetings for the future. Well, almost all teams. Goes on to say the Dallas Cowboys have been rocked by some strange things that have put the spotlight on what has been going on at the very top of the organization. And none of what is being seen is good. While two specific events in the last few days were shocking in different ways, the clarity of hindsight shows that the Cowboys may have just been living on borrowed time before things went off the rails. The term dysfunction is being applied more and more to the Cowboys, and when it has been going on for as long as it has, it's almost always comes to an inflection point. Frustration is just one of the reactions to fans that fans have to this because they all have some effect on the team. Most are very easy to see, but even the most indirect are symptoms of the overall chaos underlying things. In a roughly reverse chronological order, here are some of the things that are dragging a once proud franchise down. Jerry Jones and his family are the common thread in all issues. See, here's the problem with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has shown himself to be a guy who, at least within the last 15 years or so, since AT&T, how old is AT&T Stadium now? Since they built AT&T Stadium, and then since they built up the Star in Frisco, Jerry Jones seems to be more interested in culling profit from the residual effects of owning. It's almost like the Cowboys themselves, the team itself, are not the prime revenue stream for him. And by that, I mean, have you been to the Star in Frisco? They own all of that property. All of that real estate, all of the restaurants, why isn't this running through? Oh my goodness, folks. It's my kid. Hold on. I got to take this with my kid. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. My kid, he just told me a joke. He just told me a joke. He told me a joke, and I thought for a second that it was racist, but it wasn't. It was because I was gonna go, dude, what the hell? What is that? But it wasn't. It concerned Africa, but it didn't have anything to do with it. It wasn't racist. It was about droughts in the Sahara Desert. Okay, so back to the Cowboy thing. The recently reported what was I saying? Yeah, so Jerry Jones seems far more preoccupied with the revenue streams that are coming in residually from the different properties and the different things that the Cowboys are involved in. Whether it's, monster truck pulls, wrestling events, boxing events, and concerts at the AT&T Stadium, or the real estate, the massive cash haul being pulled in by the real estate, in the rents, in the restaurants, in the stores, in the boutiques, and all the things that go into making the Star not just an NFL practice facility, but a goddamn vacation destination. I mean, that place it's like, oh yeah, and also you can see the Cowboys practice facility. Here's more on the cheerleader incident here. The lengthy report from ESPN about a settlement paid by the Dallas Cowboys to 4 members of their famous cheerleading squad was disturbing. There was nothing good in that report and reflected very poorly on the program, or on the franchise and the management. Here we go. Hold on, let me give you more on that. Actually, you know what? It just goes on to talk about basically everything that I just talked about. So we don't need to really go into that. But yeah. All right, here we go. Maybe this is it. Cowboys paid $2.4 million to settle voyeurism allegations against a senior team executive. Cowboys paid a confidential settlement of $2.4 million after 4 members of their iconic cheerleading squad accused a senior team executive of voyeurism. This has a little bit more details. Each woman received $400,000. That's for the 4 women, and the lawyers got the rest. After the incident, one of the cheerleaders alleged that she clearly saw Rich Dalrymple, the Cowboys' longtime senior vice president, standing behind a partial wall in their locker room with his iPhone extended towards them while they were changing. According to several people with knowledge of the events and letters later sent by attorneys for the cheerleaders, Dalrymple gained entry to the back door of the cheerleaders' locker room by using a team-issued security card. Dalrymple also was accused by lifelong Cowboy... Oh, here's a crazy one. This is another thing that he was accused of that's just coming to light now. Dalrymple was also accused by a lifelong Cowboy fan of taking upskirt photos of Charlotte Jones Anderson, Jerry's daughter of Charlotte Jones Anderson, a team senior vice president, and the daughter of Jerry Jones, during the Cowboys' war room of 2015 at the NFL draft. According to documents obtained by ESPN and interviews, a fan signed an affidavit that he was watching a live stream of the war room on the team's website when he said he saw the alleged incident. Dalrymple, who did not respond to interview requests by ESPN, told the team officials that he had entered the cheerleaders' locker room not knowing the women were there and left right away. A team source says his account was contradicted by the way multiple sources described the alleged incident. Dalrymple issued a statement calling both false. Then it's the one I just read. A Cowboys rep said the team thoroughly investigated both alleged incidents and found no wrongdoing by Dalrymple and no evidence that he took photos or video of the women. The team does not dispute that Dalrymple used his security card to access and enter the cheerleaders' locker room. The organization took these allegations extremely seriously and moved immediately to thoroughly investigate this matter. The investigation was handled consistent with the best legal and HR practices, and the investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing. But again, here, have $2.4 million. Even so, the team issued Dalrymple a formal written warning in October of 2015. A person familiar with the matter told ESPN. A team source declined to provide a copy of the warning or describe what it contained, citing privacy concerns. The team also declined to detail information, including timestamped data from surveillance cameras and security key cards that would show precisely when Dalrymple entered and left the dressing room area. If any wrongdoing had been found, Rich would have been terminated. Everyone involved just felt terrible about this. Dalrymple continued working for the Cowboys in this same role for nearly 6 years after the settlement. On February 2nd of this year, he told the Dallas Morning News of his immediate retirement after 32 years. While Dalrymple thanked the team and the Jones family, no one on behalf of the team acknowledged his years of service, and his retirement was not mentioned on the team's website. His retirement came several weeks after ESPN began interviewing people about the alleged incidents. Okay, so now we know. So that's why he retired, because I was speculating earlier that maybe it was just after he retired that people then sent the information, leaked the information to ESPN. But no, they were doing this information based on what I have to assume were leaks during the season. His retirement came several weeks after ESPN began interviewing people about the alleged incident, and just days after ESPN contacted attorneys involved in the settlement. In his statement, Dalrymple said the allegations had nothing to do with my retirement from a long and fulfilling career, and I was only contacted about this story after I had retired. A signed copy of the May 2016 settlement agreement obtained by ESPN includes a non-disclosure agreement in which the 4 women, 3 of their spouses, and Cowboys officials agreed to never speak publicly of the allegations because they never happened. ESPN knows the identity of the 4 cheerleaders, but does not typically reveal the names of people who have reported allegations of sexual misconduct. The women either declined to comment for the story or did not respond to the inquiries. I am telling you, ladies, it is a different era than when you signed those non-disclosure agreements. You can go public. You can go public, and there is absolutely no way that Jerry Jones or the Dallas Cowboys are going to fight you in court to keep you quiet about sexual misdoings. It's 2022. The court of public opinion is on your side. They are not going to pursue a hush lawsuit. They're not going to hold you responsible. It's a different time. A former cheerleader familiar with the dressing room incident said it became known among other cheerleaders. It hurt my heart because I know how much it affected the people who were involved. It was very, shut the book, don't talk about it. This person is going to stay in his position. They just made it go away. He had a long personal history with Jerry Jones and the Jones family. He was seen as one of their closest confidants. He was once ordered by receiver Des Bryant in a crowded locker room to, quote, fix this shit, Rich, after Bryant got angry with a reporter. In 2015 and 16, a team source said Dalrymple lobbied football writers to elect Jerry Jones to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right, that just goes into all the sketchy stuff. So the one piece, though, that's new, that was Glenn Moray. That's it, Jay. That's it. Sorry, wrong one. Glenn Moray. That's right, Jeff. He was the weatherman who turned out to be a klepto. Remember that guy? Crazy. Let's see. All right, here, I'll just wrap this story up here. At least 2 security guards usually stand outside the cheerleaders' dressing room when they're inside, a source told ESPN. But on this day, only 1 security guard was present. Inside the back door that was left unguarded was a small nook separated by the dressing room by a partial wall. The sources said the only way to unlock the door is with a security key card that Dalrymple, among other high-ranking employees, possessed. The women, cheerleaders, heard the door leading to the nook area open, sources said. "We're in here," the women shouted. They assumed it was a security guard who immediately left, according to an account from multiple sources and relayed in a letter from the cheerleaders to his attorneys. And then there's a nice little diagram of of the cheerleaders of the area and what happened. But how about the new one, where apparently during a live stream of the 2015 draft, some fan was watching and they said that they saw Rich Dalrymple doing panty shots with his phone of Jerry's daughter. Ooh. Let's see here. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more good details. Okay, this is what I want. Several minutes after saying we're in here, one of the cheerleaders noticed a man's hand and a black cell phone pointed in their direction. At the time, the women were going from fully clothed to completely unclothed. A cheerleader later told Cowboy HR official and team's general counsel, Jason Cohn. The cheerleader who saw the cell phone was certain the man was lurking and taking photos or video of them. That woman ran towards him shouting, "Hey, what are you doing?" The cheerleader, a veteran of several years on the team, immediately recognized Dalrymple, who she said dashed away, according to the letter. The other women did not see the man. The cheerleaders immediately reported what had happened to a security guard. 3 people said the security guard wanted to report the incident to Arlington police. If the cheerleaders' allegations were substantiated under Texas law, it could be a misdemeanor to secretly observe someone without their consent and a felony to take a photo or a video of an intimate area of another person. The sources said the cheerleaders wanted to have it properly investigated, but the police were never called. The chaos delayed the 4 cheerleaders' arrival in the luncheon later that day by nearly 30 minutes. When they arrived, Kelly Finglass, the cheerleaders' director, was sitting at a round table with other people, including several team sponsors, unaware of what had just transpired. "What took you so long?" she asked the women. The former cheerleader said the cheerleaders couldn't answer the question truthfully in that setting and instead simply said they had been delayed. After the luncheon, the cheerleaders huddled again with Finglass, who suggested that the women should report the incident to Cowboys HR. A source said, the source added that all 4 cheerleaders wanted Dalrymple punished. Well, of course. Wilkinson said the Cowboys' investigation started later that day. Here's how he laid it out. Human resources officials took statements by phone from the cheerleaders, the security guard, and 2 other employees who might have been witnesses. Cohn, the general counsel for the Cowboys, confiscated Dalrymple's work-issued iPhone and obtained passwords for his phone and iCloud account. Cohn also conducted the first of multiple interviews. Okay, so we don't really need to go through the nuts and bolts of this. But yeah, man, they covered this up. They covered this up and they paid to make it go away, and they lied about whether or not anything had happened at all. We did an investigation and absolutely nothing happened here. And again, I say that the big looming issue here, the thing that we're all going to have to be looking for over the next couple of months, is how will the NFL react to this? Because the NFL, they're really going to town with Daniel Snyder and the Washington Redskins. They've been investigating that for a couple of years. That is how, if you remember John Gruden, remember when John Gruden got fired earlier in the year because of the emails where he's sending racist emails? He got discovered. Those racist emails were sent to a vice president of the Washington Redskins. And because of the NFL's league investigation into some cheerleader shenanigans with the Redskins, they obtained all of the emails. And the John Gruden one, being a racist, was one of the emails that they uncovered in their discovery. And then that was leaked to the press. And now John Gruden is unhirable. All right, so there you have it. This is going to be a big story, I think, locally. It's going to absolutely be, oh no. How did that not happen? Hold on, wait a second. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Well, that sucks. Hold on. Give me a second here. I lost something that I wanted to do. We'll go a little bit late today. Why not, right? We're not going anywhere. You know how much I love my lists. I found a fun list that I wanted to go over that I thought would be good. There we go. Is this it? This is it. I found it. How great. Okay, so folks, how about it? If you are you a part of Gen X like I am? I'm telling you, I am the Gen expert. I feel like our generation, the most overlooked generation of all of the generational cohorts that are still alive and breathing oxygen, I feel that we have always been the most overlooked because we are sandwiched between two massive generations. Gen X is sandwiched between the boomers, who were the largest generational cohort of all time in American history, and then the one right behind us, the millennials, who are now the largest generational cohort in all American history. Why? Why did we, the Gen X generation, end up so small? Because we're the generation that first had divorce. We're the first generation where our moms had to work. We're the first generation that actually had abortion and the birth control pill. Boomers didn't have that. Every time you had sex as a boomer, you probably had a kid. That's why there's so many boomers. And why are the millennials? So fertility drugs. That's why, because the fertility drug generation is the millennial generation. People who otherwise, had they had their children during the Gen X era, people who otherwise would not have been able to have children, suddenly in the 1980s were able to have children. So again, and abortion became a very polarizing thing. It wasn't a polarizing thing in the 1960s and in the 70s. Well, certainly not the way it is today. So our generation, Generation X, is incredibly small, and all the other generations that flank us are big, which is nice because millennials seem to take out all of their ire on boomers, and they completely overlook us. So we're just basically sitting here in the middle going, all right, you guys fight it out. You guys be completely moronic and irrational, and we'll just run the world. And make no mistake, we are running the world right now. So I found this thing that I thought was interesting. And Gen X is absolutely having a moment. Gen X, the halftime show was for Gen X. First time anything truly felt like it was for us. I found this. I thought this was fun. We could go through this. This is a list, and I will offer my best commentary. This is a list of what is being described as the 25 best Gen X films of all time. You know I'm a filmophile. You know that I love my movies. Would that be a cinephile? Probably be a cinephile. I like filmophile better because it seems to roll best. All right, here we go. Let's talk about these. Number 25 in the best Gen X films of all time, Kids. Do you remember Kids, 1995? Oh my, Chloe Sevigny. I think it was her first movie. Kids was disturbing. It was dark. It was about teenagers and people in their early 20s. And it was, everybody had AIDS. Everybody was doing drugs. Everybody was having unprotected sex. It was shocking. Not a big hit, kind of an art house film, but certainly comes in at number 25. Number 24 on the list of the best Gen X films, Suburbia. This was a Richard Linklater film. Now, I guess we're going to probably hear a lot of Richard Linklater films because he's the quintessential Gen X. Is he the quintessential Gen X filmmaker? I think that Richard Linklater certainly has a claim to that. I think that John Hughes in the early parts, John Hughes certainly has a claim to being the quintessential Gen X filmmaker. Who else? Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino was definitely, all right, let's keep going. Suburbia. 23, Chasing Amy. That was the hot lesbian movie with Ben Affleck, right? Like before Ben Affleck was super big, 1997, Jason Lee, Joey Lauren Adams, Ben Affleck chasing Amy. He's chasing Amy, but Amy's a lesbian. Whoa, that was controversial in 1997. 22, Party Girl, Parker Posey. A lot of people want to talk about maybe Molly Ringwald being the Gen X princess, but I think Parker Posey has a case to be made. Parker Posey was in just about everything in the 1990s. Party Girl. Clueless. How about Clueless? 1995's Clueless, coming in at number 21 on the Gen X movies. Best Gen X films. All right, here's a movie that I kind of enjoyed, but I also really hated. High Fidelity, 2000. John Cusack. Was there a description for this one? All right. A good number of Gen X type movies of the 90s focused on 20-somethings looking for their place in life. In the case of Rob Gordon, a.k.a. John Cusack, he's a 30-something, unlucky in love record store owner who's trying to find his way in Chicago. Cusack, whose characters often champion the underdog, is not always likable in the lead roles for the... I don't want to talk about that. High Fidelity was all right. What was great about High Fidelity? It introduced us to Jack Black. I'll give you that. Oh, here's a good one. This, I can't believe it's only 19. This should certainly be in the top 10 of the best Gen X films of all time. Fight Club. Woo, boy. Fight Club. We just had a conversation about Fight Club a couple of weeks ago and how, idiots will just watch Fight Club and then you'll tell them that, Brad, the whole point of the movie was that Brad Pitt wasn't real, right? He was a hallucination, a delusion of the Ed Norton character and all the things that Ed Norton wished he could be. That's not true. Yeah, it is. Stupid. Fight Club. 18 as far as the best Gen X films of all time. How about Scream, 1996? It might not be a stretch to say that the Scream franchise of films defined the horror genre for Generation X. There's plenty of blood, decent murder scenes, and some extremely funny moments, at least in the first two movies. These movies are actually fun to watch because the humor is just as good as the action and the death. The only downside is that it gave Jamie Kennedy more than 15 minutes of fame. Well, that's I guess, an opinion. I happen to think Jamie Kennedy is fine. Let's see. What else? 17, Grosse Pointe Blank. Another John Cusack. John Cusack is... John Cusack has a case to be made for possibly the quintessential Gen X actor, and I'm not happy about it because John Cusack has blocked me on Twitter. We got into a bit of a fight a couple of years ago, and now he won't talk to me on Twitter. Now I'm blocked. Here's one that I just saw the other night. I just watched this again the other night, and you know what? It doesn't hold up. It is so self-aggrandized, and the characters in this movie take themselves way too seriously, but it's fun. It's fun. Talking about 1995, Empire Records. Empire Records. Story of a bunch of kids working in a record store. Remember record stores? They're not a thing anymore. That's number 16 on the list. Here's another good one. Yeah, this is really good. This is a good one. I can't believe that this isn't higher. I would put this in the top 10 with Trainspotting for sure. Number 15 on the list, coming from 1996, one of the 15th ranked Gen X film of all time, Trainspotting. Trainspotting. Ooh, when he dove into the toilet. Gen X had a dalliance with heroin back in the early 90s. We remember the heroin chic movement, where like supermodels looked like junkies, and then meth became a real problem. And we started to see people who were all methed out as you go to a restaurant and your waitress was like some meth head. And you'd be like, okay, that's not hot. That's not chic. Let's move on from the heroin chic look. Number 14 on the list, Swingers. Swingers was fun. I liked Swingers. The worst part about Swingers is that for the next 10 years, douchebags everywhere used the term, your money, baby, your money. Number 13, Mallrats. Mallrats was fun. Is this the second? Yeah, Kevin Smith had Chasing Amy, and Kevin Smith also had Mallrats. So I would say that Kevin Smith seems to be the... I know my boy Tom said that he thinks Quentin Tarantino is at the top of the Gen X filmmakers list, but come on, you got to make a case for Kevin Smith. You got to make that case. Chasing Amy, Mallrats. Number 12 on the list of the best Gen X films of all time, Pump Up the Volume, Pump Up the Volume, Pump Up the Volume, Dance, Dance. Christian Slater played the quintessential Gen X character to a T. On more than one occasion, but some critics considered him the Jack Nicholson of a generation. Well, if Pump Up the Volume is mentioned, you gotta believe that Heathers is coming up, right? I mean, Heathers is about as great a Gen X film as there could be. These, I gotta be honest, I haven't really seen one dog in this list yet. I haven't seen one movie that I'm like, yeah, no thanks, I pass. I've seen every movie that's been named so far, and all of them have their moments. Pump Up the Volume I liked. He played a pirate radio DJ. He ran a pirate radio station out of his house, and he turned out to be an insurgent force for anarchy and chaos. Because that's what we were about in Gen X. Overturning the apple cart. Number 11, Do the Right Thing. All right, definitely a Gen X film. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, 1989. Number 10, Wayne's World. That's not a Gen X film. Wayne's World's not a Gen X. Wayne's World's just a good film. I don't know that I would say it's quintessentially a Gen X film. Number 9, here we go. Another Richard Linklater, 1990 slacker. So now Slacker is very, I don't think many people have seen Slacker. Slacker is, I'll read it to you. Slacker is kind of like the little independent film that could, and the picture that first showed the talent of director-writer Richard Linklater. Another day in the life of movie, that's what this is, a day in the life of a slacker, chronicled the lives of various, mostly 20-something hipsters, bohemians, and deviants hanging around the streets of Austin, Texas. What stands out most about the film, however, is the dialogue, which covers topics such as UFOs, the JFK death conspiracy, and Madonna's pap smear. I love Slackers. Slackers was... Richard Linklater did more for making Austin this incredibly cool Oz-type destination for our entire generation than anybody else. Richard Linklater he didn't put it on the map, of course not. I mean, but for our generation, Richard Linklater made Austin seem really cool. There was also a great round about 97, 98, there was an MTV series called Austin Stories, which I should look that up on YouTube. I remember thinking that was so funny. And around 1998, I was like, oh man, I want to move to Austin. These people seem awesome. These are my people. All right, number 8. We are definitely inside the top 10 of the greatest Gen X films of all time. Number 8, Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood. NWA introduced the world to the hard times and hard living that was going on in Southern California, particularly South Central Los Angeles and nearby Compton during the 80s and the 90s. No film told the story better than John Singleton's Boys in the Hood. John Singleton's dead, man. How crazy is that? John Singleton dropped dead of a heart attack a couple of years ago. Just like he's in his 40s, just dead. Not cool. All right, here's a dog. I said there haven't been any dogs. I didn't like this movie. And there's like 3 others. This movie had like 3 sequels. Before Sunrise, 1995. Now, I know this is also another Richard Linklater, but I didn't. Julie Delpy, Ethan Hawke, they're lovers. And it's about young love. Snooze. Here we go. Now we're into it. This should be in my top 5. 1989's Heathers. Come on, how great is Heathers? I love my boy. I love my dead gay boy. My teen angst bullshit has a body count. That's one of Winona Ryder's great quotes in this movie. My teen angst bullshit has a body count. If that doesn't sum up the brilliantly dark and humorous Heathers, we don't know what else does. The words of high schooler Veronica Sawyer, Winona Ryder, rang true in this story about a powerful female clique, 3 of which are named Heather, that secretly hate each other. Heathers is what Mean Girls could have been if the person who wrote Mean Girls was a manic depressive. Heathers was great, man. God, I haven't seen Heathers in probably 30 years. I got to go back and watch Heathers again. Again, another Christian Slater, amazing in this film. Winona Ryder, amazing in this. Can we make a case for Winona Ryder being the queen of Generation X? She sure as hell could be. Here's a good one. Number 5, Say Anything. In your eyes, light in your eyes. This was a good one. Remember? Lloyd, what are you going to do with your life? Well, I don't want to make anything that can be sold. And I don't want to sell anything that can be made. I don't want whatever his rant was to the dad, to Ione Sky's dad, where he ends it up by going, so I'm just going to hang out with your daughter until I figure it all out. I always thought that was some great dialogue. John Cusack in the raincoat, holding the jacket up over his, oh, look at this. What do we got? Parker here now? All right, we'll bring him in here for the last few. Parker joins us. He's he's here or he's not here.
No, I'm here. Hang on. I'm just turning on my little camera program.
All right. I'll catch you up on what we're doing here.
Sure.
Went deep on the Rich Dalrymple, Dallas Cowboys cheerleader scandal. Talked about that for a while. And now just kind of running out the clock with a story that I found here. And you're here for the top 5. Yeah, you don't want to be here for any more than the top 5. The 25 greatest Gen X films of all time.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Number 5 is Say Anything. And I was just talking. Any hot takes on Say Anything? In your eyes, standing out there in the rain, holding the boombox. Back in the day when a stalker was free to be a stalker.
Overrated.
Oh, you think it's overrated?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that depends on who's rating it. And in this case, it would be me because I said yes. I love Say Anything. Well, we'll go back to any thoughts on here. I'll give you a quick rundown of the top 10 and you give me your quick thoughts. Okay.
See, I have a feeling. I just have a feeling. I don't know. I'm probably speaking out of turn here, but I think this is going to be another one of those generational divides within Gen X because your Gen X is focused on the 80s and my Gen X is focused on the 90s.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of these movies have sort of bridged the gap there. But okay,
because your Breakfast Club is
Right.
my Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, but I also claim Dazed and Confused. That's
okay. I know, but
all
those
the
movies
actors were
came
my
out.
age, and Richard Linklater's older than me, so we've covered a lot of Richard Linklater films. Although we haven't got to Dazed and Confused yet, so maybe that's in the top 5. I'll give you the quick top 10. We were at number 5, but I'll retract to 10, and you give me your quick takes. Number 10, greatest Gen X film of all time, Wayne's World from 1992.
Oh man, yeah. I had that on VHS, and that's one of the movies I've probably seen 100 times. There's only like 5 movies I've seen 100 times, and that's one of them.
Of course, I enjoyed it, but I resist the idea that it's a Gen X film. I think it's just a film that came out during that era. It's just a good film, and I don't think you necessarily had to be a member of Gen X to appreciate it, which is what this list is about.
You know what? Very true. It's a Saturday Night Live film.
Yeah. It's not specifically speaking to a generation that feels ignored.
Let me turn on this other light. I feel like I'm
you're
dramatic.
a little bit.
Hang on a second.
Good. You look fine.
All right. I looked all emotional and crap.
Yeah. Leslie says War Games. Definitely War Games is a Gen X movie. But War Games hasn't made the list. All right, so number 10 was Wayne's World. Number 9 was Slacker, Richard Linklater's Slacker from 1990. Story of a bunch of people. It's a day in the life. It's just like almost one running shot. Linklater's brilliant. Linklater does a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
I don't know Slacker. Have I seen Slacker?
Well, you should. You should go see it. It's very funny. I was saying that Slacker was the first movie in 1990 that I saw that I went, oh my God. Austin seems awesome because it's just about a day in the life of 1990s flannel shirt wearing, rock band watching slackers in Austin, Texas.
Oh man, I remember seeing this box at the video store and never renting it.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
But again, this is the generational divide because for me, I was in college in 1990 and this was about college age kids. And in 1990, you were still,
7th grade.
Yeah, not even in high school yet. Number 8 was Boys in the Hood from 1991, and your list of the top Gen X films of all time. Boys in the Hood.
Okay. If you're going to go down that genre, I much prefer Menace to Society.
Really? Well, I think Boys in the Hood spoke to the inner city and Black Generation X.
Menace to Society. Even more so.
Yeah. Okay. Number 7, Before Sunrise. This is.
I don't know that one.
It's another Richard Linklater. This one's a romance and it's boring. I don't like this one. Number 6 was Heathers from 1989.
I didn't see that.
You've never seen Heathers?
No, isn't it like a girl gets pregnant or something?
No. I'll tell you how I just described it. Heathers is Mean Girls created by a manic depressive person. Heathers is the story of a clique of girls in this high school in 1989. They're all named Heather, except a new girl comes to town, Winona Ryder, and she gets brought into the group, and her name is Veronica, and she very quickly realizes that these mean girls, these Heathers, are awful. So she hooks up with the bad boy in school, Christian Slater, and they devise ways to murder all the Heathers. And they kill them all.
Well, that sounds like a good movie.
It's great, and I'm happy that it's in the top 10, but I would certainly put Heathers in the top 5. I'll read you the quick description just to get you an idea of what it is. Quoting the Winona Ryder character now, she says, "My teen angst bullshit has a body count. If that doesn't sum up the brilliantly dark and humorous Heathers, we don't know what does." The words of high schooler Veronica Sawyer, played by Winona Ryder, rang true in this story about a powerful female clique, 3 of which were named Heather, that secretly hate each other. Add newcomer bad boy Christian Slater to the mix, and that Gen X angst held by plenty of high schoolers around America turns deadly on screen, yet oh so entertaining. Heathers is great. I'm telling you, Heathers is easily Winona Ryder's greatest role.
Wow,
Great.
that's high praise. Look at you.
Leslie says Heathers is where Christian Slater does his best. Jack Nicholson, yes, that's why in years to come, people would say Christian Slater is like just a young man, Jack Nicholson, and he was purposely in Heathers. Christian Slater was playing the character as Jack Nicholson. So, the whole, his mannerisms, the way he responds to things, the way he talks, he was doing a Jack Nicholson voice as a high school kid. It was a very good movie. Heathers is a great movie. And number 5 is saying,
wait, hang on. Just, I hate to go on a tangent here, but where the hell did Christian Slater go? Has he done anything in 20 years?
Oh, yeah. Christian Slater just won a whole bunch of Emmys a couple of years ago for Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot was like the hottest show on TV, and Christian Slater is one of the stars of it. Now, Rami Malek is the real star. He is, he broke out. Now, Rami Malek is like an A-lister. But yeah, no, it was Rami Malek and Christian Slater were the 2 stars of Mr. Robot.
Have I been living on the moon? What is Mr. Robot?
Well, you know who Rami Malek is, right?
Yeah. He was Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. But he came from Mr. Robot, where he won like the Emmy for Best Actor in a Television Show for like years.
Oh, I see. This was on USA Network.
Mm-hmm. But it was a massive hit, a critically acclaimed massive hit. And I mean, look what it did for Rami Malek. I mean, it turned him into a big. But yeah, that's what the most recent place I've seen Christian Slater. I also saw him. I also saw him recently in a movie. You pull up
Christian Slater.
Yeah, let me see. Recently, I saw him in something, and I'm like, it's always good to see him working.
I always thought he was so cool because he did like that sort of teen angst, but he has range. Like he was a very good outlaw in Young Guns 2. And I thought this guy was going to be an A-lister from there on out.
All right, so in the last few years, he did. Okay, so none of these movies are anything that I've ever heard of. 2013, didn't know that. 2014, don't know what that is. Oh, Hot Tub Time Machine. He did those.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
better than I thought it'd be.
Suicide Squad. He's in Suicide Squad.
Okay. I did see Suicide. I don't remember him in that.
He plays Deadshot, Floyd Lawton.
Okay.
And then let's see what he's been doing on TV. Maybe he's more active on TV. Oh yeah, Dr. Death. The amazing Dr. Death miniseries from Peacock about the Dallas doctor who was killing people. He was a terrible surgeon. He just kept killing people because he was incompetent. He plays the investigator, the main guy who goes after him. He was also a star of the show Dirty John, which is also pretty well received.
I'm sorry I'm so worthless on this segment so far.
That's okay. You're not worthless. We're doing fine. You're doing fine. All right, number 6, Heathers. Number 5 was Say Anything. We already talked about that. You think it's overrated. I think it's a fine movie. I don't know that I'd put it in the top 5. But here are your top 5 greatest Gen X films of all time. Say Anything, number 5. Number 4, The Breakfast Club. You already mentioned The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that has to be in there. But it deserves to be. It's a good show. It stands the test of time. I saw it like 4 years ago.
Doesn't
it? Was pretty good.
Yeah,
good.
I recently saw it with not recently, but a couple of years ago, I watched it with, we did a whole John Hughes thing with my kid, and he did, and I know that it's
16 Candles still works. Pretty in Pink still works.
They do. They really, Ferris Bueller's does as well. I've seen them all.
I saw that last year.
I've watched all of those films in recent years with a kid who hates to watch anything, who thinks any movie made before 2015 is old and boring. And he loved all of them. So that would be the indicator that they stand the test of time. If a new generation is laughing, and
it's a good metric.
Number 3 is Singles. It's pretty quintessentially Gen X.
I don't think I've seen Singles either.
Dude, greatest Gen X soundtrack of all time. Singles with Matt Damon and Bridget Fonda. She's in love with Matt, set in Seattle in 1992. He's in a band called Citizen Dick. The fun part about Singles is that Matt Damon played the lead singer of the band Citizen Dick, who were just a terrible grunge band. But of course, they thought they were going to be rock stars. And Bridget Fonda was the wonderful girlfriend who was basically paying his way. He was living with her and borrowing her money and all that. And the interesting thing about Singles, you ought to see the Singles. Every song on the Singles soundtrack. Every song became a big hit in the 90s because it was all the Seattle bands.
Now, I do remember the soundtrack. Absolutely. Yeah. There was because it would be in all the videos they would put from the soundtrack of Singles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it was. I would say that is the quintessential Gen X soundtrack, Singles. However, Citizen Dick, the band Citizen Dick, was lead singer Matt Dillon, the character from the movie, but the actual band, the other members of Citizen Dick, were Pearl Jam. It was actually
that helps.
Yeah, it was like Eddie Vedder, Stone Goss. It was the real Pearl Jam. That was his band, guys. All right, so that's number 3. Number 3, Singles, absolutely, I think, is a top 3 Gen X film of all time. All right, number 2, Reality Bites. Another Dallas, set in Dallas.
Might be a little high on the list, but good enough hard to argue against.
Reality Bites, Ben Stiller's first, his directorial debut. Ben Stiller is the creator of Reality Bites. Janine Garofalo, once again, Winona Ryder, who I think is making a strong case for her claim to be the Gen X princess. I initially said that it's between Winona Ryder and Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald for the early Gen X and Winona Ryder for the later Gen X.
Or for the latest Gen X, it might be Alicia Silverstone.
Could very well be.
Is Clueless in here?
Yeah, Clueless was like in the top 20.
28 or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom says too high for Reality Bites. Maybe, but it is so quintessentially Gen X. It is about the generation. It is about kids of that. It is a little ham-fisted. It is a little bit overwrought with angst and young adult confusion and that whole thing. So
a lot of people, you can tell they hate their dad.
Okay. So here's the recap of it. It says, full disclosure, there are stronger overall movies on this list, but what Reality Bites does better than most Gen X films is that it hits the sweet spot about the question of what's next, something that postgraduates in the 1990s often asked themselves when it came to taking the next step. In this case, director Ben Stiller showcases recent college graduates trying to find their place professionally, personally, and emotionally. Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and Janine Garofalo all shine, especially when dancing to My Sharona in a gas station convenience store. A Dallas movie. When I moved to Dallas in the early 2000s, the only thing I really knew about Dallas were movies that were made in Dallas.
Right.
And I was like, well, Reality Bites made it seem pretty cool. Made it seem like a place I'd want to live. Made it seem young. Made it seem hip. It would go to clubs in Deep Ellum. It was very cool.
That Lisa Loeb song, she's actually from Dallas, and that was Stay. Yeah.
Stay. Number 1. Are you ready? And I was, I did not pre-look at this list. Leslie says, I love that she was scamming with her dad's gas card. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you want gas? I'll pay for your gas. You give me the cash. Number 1. This one I'd been thinking, where is it? How could they miss this one? The number 1 Gen X movie of all time. 1994. Clerks.
Oh, okay. Well, where was Dazed and Confused?
Didn't make the list. Did not make the list.
Trash list then. Throw it away.
Yeah. I would have put, out of 25, I would have put Dazed and Confused at least in the top 10. Dazed and Confused is a wonderful film.
Does it not make it because it's set in 1976?
Well, I don't think that would be a reason to not make it because Generation X.
It's not quintessentially Gen X then.
Well, right. But if it's 1976, the Generation X generation remembers 1976. It's
Oh,
their
I don't.
child-
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, you're right. Your part of Gen X missed that. But for me, 1976, I was 6 years old, in parts of it, 7 in other parts of it.
All right, so that's why it doesn't make it, because it's not set in our era.
And I guess it's not about Gen X
It's definitely not. It's
Yeah.
not. But
like the people, the people, Wooderson and the stars, the kids that were graduating high school in Dazed and Confused, they would be boomers. They would be, if
Yep.
you were 17 in 1976, you would be a boomer. You were born before 1965. The only person that would be Gen X in that movie would be that little kid. The really little kid.
the 8th grader.
And he was probably like 8 or 9 years old. That was the Gen X. But all the other characters, they would not be Gen X. Here's what it says about Clerks. Like it or not, many in the latter end of Generation X like to complain. Nothing was their fault, especially their lot in life, whether a slacker or those seemingly content with working dead-end jobs. No film summed that up better than Dante and Randall, a convenience store and video store worker, respectively, who think they are above their jobs, yet don't have the driver confidence to move up. However, their angst for work and their customers is hilarious. In an often raunchy way, in Kevin Smith's black and white, low-budget breakout directorial debut, people are still whining, "I'm not even supposed to be here today."
Yeah, I say that sometimes.
There you go,
Okay,
folks.
now
That's your
I
list.
saw that about 5 years ago, and it doesn't stand as well as the first 8,000 times I saw it when it came out, because the acting is so bad. They talk too fast, and you can tell they just memorized the script, and then they're saying all the lines, and they're trying to say them really fast, and they're acting all angsty, but that's not how people talk.
Nobody from that movie went on to do anything else. Dante, you never saw him in anything else other than
Kevin Smith stuff.
Kevin Smith gave him little roles and things.
Like Mallrats, he was on the dating game.
Kevin Smith was just such a great writer of dialogue. I can't speak that he is now, but I mean, there's just so many great lines from that movie that try not to blow anybody on your way through the parking lot.
No, try not to suck any dick on the way to the parking lot.
Yeah. Try not to suck any dick on your way through the parking lot. The conversation about the Death Star and the innocent workers who were killed.
The contractors, yeah. Well, they knew the risks when they accepted the job. Yeah.
That was great. All right, I got nothing else. Got anything in closing you want to do? I appreciate you jumping in. I went a little bit late. We went late today.
Yeah, I just got done with work. I'm gonna go try and smash the redhead. So.
Oh, she's back?
Yeah. I picked her up at the airport yesterday. She's back.
How is Dad?
Her dad's doing okay. He's still in the hospital. But it's not a heart condition now. They angiogrammed it and scoped it all out, so he's cool. He just has pneumonia and fluid in the lungs, so they can't let he also has like cancer that's in remission. Oh. So when you have like 8 things that are wrong with you and you have pneumonia, they just hold you.
How about your dad? What's the deal there?
He's out of the hospital, but he just sits on the couch and watches TV. He doesn't do anything.
He get that Whataburger yet?
I don't know. He might still be on the toilet. Who knows?
All right. There he is. That's James Parker. Thank you, James. Appreciate you stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow. This is it for the shows with Pugs and Parker, at least until Monday of next week. Again, I might jump on if something big happens. If the war breaks out, I'll jump in live and we'll watch.
There's no war. There's no war.
It's coming. It's coming after the Olympics. That's it'll happen after the Olympics. Again, thank you so much. Join me tomorrow at noon for the High Noon edition, where we'll be doing all kinds of topics and anything that's trending, current events, get you all prepped up for the weekend ahead, tell you everything you need to know. I guess that's it. Also, as always, you can... Oh, yeah, look, I didn't... that doesn't help. This show runs on your generosity.
Kid called me. Be right back.
Yeah, kid called me to tell me a joke. All right, you want to hear the joke he called and told me? I thought at first it might have been racist. So he calls in the middle of the show and he goes, "Dad, I got a joke." And I go, "What is it?" And he goes, "Did you hear they found water on Mars?" And I go, yeah, I don't know. Did they? He goes, "Yeah, Mars 1, Africa 0." Like, Like, I had to think, is that racist? No, that's not racist. That's an environmental joke. That's about the drought. That's about the drought going on in Africa. All right. I was worried. My kid, I didn't think he was, he's never told me a racially insensitive joke before. But
Well,
that one's environmental joke. Support the show any way you can. We appreciate that. Also, you can support by spreading the word, liking, subscribing, forwarding, sharing, all of that kind of stuff. And we'll keep doing show. I'll keep doing it regardless. I'll keep doing it until I'll keep doing it. I have no interest in stopping. I appreciate you allowing me this opportunity to
tell the truth.
Dive deep into my narcissistic nature. What?
We're going to keep doing this until we get a real job and they tell us we can't do this anymore.
Even then, I'm going to have it written in that I keep doing it. I like doing my noon show. We'll see. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. And Parker and I will be back on Monday. Once again, support the show if you can. I really do appreciate it. Night, Leslie. Love you so much. Night, John. Love you, buddy. Clovis, you're okay. Nah, I'm kidding. Love to Clovis. Love to Byron. Love to my buddy Tom. Tom and I go back way, way back. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great night. Appreciate you joining me. I am on a never-ending quest.